The wide receiver position is dank on the waiver wire this week. There's not much to go after. There's no big names. There's nobody really going off in production, scoring lots of fantasy points that everybody's clamoring for. There's a lot of jabronis out there, and it's hard to really want to get excited about the waiver wire for week 5. Nobody's really saying it, but we'll say it right here. But one wide receiver who is a rookie that a lot of people are interested in, they want to know more about him because he was productive last week. He has shown some signs throughout the season that he can compete at the NFL level, and these young players tend to break out early in their career if it's meant to be. And we're talking about Michael Wilson, wide receiver of the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to do a deep dive on him today. We're going to talk about the news, the facts, the data, the advanced metrics, whatever we can find on him. But before we do, you need to click that subscribe button right now. Give it a tap with the finger on your phone. Click it with your mouse, whatever you need to do. Stop missing out on these deep dives of these players. Also, we're helping you set lineups with these videos. We're doing multiple videos covering the waiver wire every week. We're doing these deep dives. Everything else in between. Click that button. Stop missing out. But let's look at Michael Wilson here. So last week he scored 26.6 PPR fantasy points, 7 targets, 7 catches, 76 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's been looking good this season for a young rookie wide receiver drafted in the 3rd round. Usually 3rd round wide receivers don't get this much action early in their career. But look at the targets here. 4, 3, 2, 7. So we're getting some workload. The snap share, 90, 43, 67, 70. So he is getting some opportunity. He is getting some time on the field, and it's early in his career. We're only 4 games deep in his career right now, and he's already had a 26-point game, a 10-point game in fantasy. He's seeing a game with 90% snap share. He's getting some opportunity here in the offense. That's a good sign. That is a good sign for the long term, especially if this depth chart turns over a little bit. Maybe something happens, he gets a little bit more opportunity, or they start slinging more targets his way later down in the season, starts earning a bigger role. You don't know what's going to happen, but Michael Wilson, a rookie wide receiver drafted in the 3rd round that nobody was talking about, is starting to do some things here on the season. He's averaging 43 snaps a game, 67.6% snap share, 4 targets a game, which isn't huge, but it's a 13.2% target share, running 25.8 routes per game, a 74.6% route participation rate, so pretty much 75%, and he's averaging 12.4 PPR points per game, pretty much buoyed by that big performance and that 10-point performance, but still, for a rookie, 4 games into his career, not just the season, that's good to know. The most you want to know here is he's running a lot of routes here, 75% share. He's getting opportunity. He's running some snaps out there. He's getting some work. That means the team's already trusting him, and now he's just got to earn a little bit more. He's already making some plays. He's already doing some things. He's already being productive. All good signs for a rookie wide receiver who could take a step forward in the next few weeks, next few months, maybe next year. But he's already doing some stuff to get us excited. And looking at the college metrics here, not super productive. That is something you want to know. Not a super productive wide receiver coming out of Stanford here. This is why he flew under the radar. Might have got drafted a little bit higher. Came out a little bit earlier, had a little bit more production. He blew up at the Senior Bowl. It was him and Puka Nacua. Those were the 2 senior wide receivers there. Of course, Senior Bowl, senior wide receivers, but still with low production scores in their profile that really blew everybody away. They were making play after play after play, winning with nuance, winning with ball skills, creating separation. We see this in Michael Wilson's game here. Very nuanced player, very crafty, strong hands, and can really put it together. Check out the tape from college. Check that out. See whether you like him or not. He's a fun player to watch. But going to draft day, he was drafted late in round 3 by the Cardinals. 6'1", 216. So we got some size to him as well. Usually, wide receivers are under 200 pounds these days. He's a big wide receiver for this year's class. We did not have that many big wide receivers in this year's wide receiver class. So he's got some size to his frame. And then you look at the athleticism score. Not super daunting, But again, fast enough to get the job done. 4.58 40-yard dash, not the fastest, but fast enough to compete. Everything else good enough to get the job done. And that's really all you need to see here. You just need them to be good enough to get the job done, because we know guys who run the 4.5s can compete. We already seen him compete. So really, part of his production profile is him winning with nuance, being at the right place at the right time, creating separation, strong hands, smart playmaker. He's already getting it done. Look at the training camp clips that I posted about 2 months ago on this channel when we were posting training camp clips every day. The Michael Wilson one had a lot of good stuff to it. It was one of the longer ones anyways. And you'll see the nuance there. You'll see how swift he is in the feet, how light he is, how good he moves. Very good wide receiver prospect. And a third-round pick for the Cardinals that probably is going to hit for him. And look at this team. This is going to give you a very good indication whether you should be buying in or not. They're running 64 plays per game, 34 pass attempts per game, 24th in the league in pass attempts per game. In neutral game script, honestly, it's very similar to these numbers as well. That's why I don't have them posted. But looking at the targets here, 32 for Marquise Brown, 14 for Michael Wilson. Second most targeted wide receiver on the team. Then you got Rondale Moore, Zach Pascal. The thing about that is they're not getting many targets to the wide receiver. It's not a lot of targets going to the wide receivers in this offense. A lower volume passing offense is what we're looking at here, and that's really what's keeping them down. So if the volume ever goes up, say we got a matchup here that should be fire, and Vegas is saying it, you may want him in your lineup, especially if he starts taking a step forward in production, efficiency, and opportunity there. That's something you may want to look at. He's a stash play that's already giving you some production. He's a stash play that's already flashing right now. That's something to like. That's something to go after. A rookie wide receiver with a 26-point fantasy performance is nothing to sleep on. Those don't come every day. That's not an everyday thing. So we could be expecting more. Maybe not games to that degree in fantasy, but we might see some consistency here soon as he earns more of a role in the offense. That might happen. And looking at the schedule, we got some games that are kind of tough, and we also have some games here that could be going off for them, and that's a good thing to see. And we got a lot of schedule left. And he's only 4 games into his career. We got a lot of schedule left, a lot to look at for Michael Wilson. So we could be seeing him go off, get more opportunity here in the next few weeks. Or maybe it's week 12, 13, 14. Maybe you don't pick him up now. Maybe you pick him up later. Maybe it's later. But you know what? You know about him now. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. You need him because you need upside at wide receiver. But you also need a wide receiver that's also doing something. That's what you're getting with Michael Wilson, because he could tap into that upside. He might not. It might not happen. But he could, and he's getting opportunity. Things might ramp up for him. That's something you may be in store for. You don't like chasing wide receivers on low-volume passing offenses. Right now, he's the wide receiver 2. Why have the wide receiver 2 on a low-volume passing offense? You're not going to predict when you're going to start him. You don't want that headache. You rather have the running back off waivers. You rather play hot potato with the running backs until one of those young rookies hit. You rather do that because the upside is more grandiose with that. If he hits, it may not even be enough for you to really turn a profit in your league. That's what you're looking at right now. You're winning those running backs, and I understand, and that's what I do too when it comes to the waivers. I lean more heavy on the running backs, and I play hot potato with them, and I just try to time it right, and sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, and you diversify your portfolio. But if you need a wide receiver to stash, you got him. If you want one that's already doing something. You also got Jameson Williams coming up. You can stash him. There's a few others. There's not many wide receivers to stash right now, but they are out there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.